Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. We are back with the glossary of legal terms. The first phrase today is blue laws. Blue laws are regulations restricting certain activities on Sundays or religious holidays. They typically ban alcohol sales, commercial trade, or entertainment. Historically, they were based on religious principles promoting rest and worship. Many jurisdictions have repealed or relaxed the blue laws, but some remain in force. They raise debates about religious freedom and economic liberty. The next term is indebtedness. Indebtedness is the state of owing money or obligations to another person or entity. It may arise from loans, credit, or contractual commitments. In legal terms, it determines liabilities and their repayment obligations. Indebtedness can impact creditworthiness, bankruptcy proceedings, and corporate finance. It is crucial for determining financial solvency and compliance with debt agreements. The next term is legality. Legality means conformity with the law. It is a fundamental principle that actions, contracts, and decisions must comply with the legal norms. Legality ensures fairness, order, and enforceability. Courts often strike down actions that lack legality. It is essential to the rule of law and constitutional governance. The next phrase is watercourse law. Watercourse law governs the rights and responsibilities of landowners over natural flowing water. It addresses issues like diversion, pollution, and a reasonable use. The goal is to balance private rights with public interests. Disputes often involve upstream and downstream uses. This law is crucial for environmental protection and resource management. The next phrase is zero-sum litigation. Zero-sum litigation refers to a dispute where one party's gain is exactly equal to the other's loss. It leaves no room for compromise or shared benefit. Most adversarial lawsuits are zero-sum in nature. This contrasts with mediation or arbitration where win-win outcomes may be possible. It reflects the competitive nature of court processes. The next term is exemption. Exemption is a legal release from an obligation, duty, or liability that would otherwise apply. It can apply to taxes, legal requirements, or certain penalties. Exceptions are often granted by law or authority based on criteria like status, income level, or public interest. They aim to provide a relief or encourage a specific behavior. For example, charitable organizations may receive tax exemptions. The next phrase is heirs and assigns. This phrase refers to those who inherit property, that is heirs, and those who acquire it through legal transfer, that is assigns. It is often used in deeds, wills, and contracts to ensure rights passed to successors. The clause extends benefits and obligations beyond the original parties. This creates continuity of property rights. It is a standard term in legal drafting. The next phrase is zoning bylaw. A zoning bylaw is a local regulation controlling land use and development. It defines permissible use, building heights, and a density and a setbacks. Zoning bylaws are enforced by municipal authorities. They aim to promote a orderly development and a public welfare. Violations may lead to fines, denial of permits, or litigation. The next term is movables. Movables are personal property that can be physically moved from one place to another. Examples include furniture, vehicles, and jewelry. They differ from immovable property like land and buildings. Legal rules for transfer and taxation of movables are usually simpler. Movables can be pledged or sold without a complex registration procedures. The next phrase is legal transaction. A legal transaction is any action or agreement creating, modifying, or extinguishing legal rights and duties. Examples include contracts, bills, and transfers of property. It requires capacity, consent, and a legality of object. Legal transactions must comply with statutory formalities to be valid. They are the foundation of private law relationship. The next term is exhortation. Exhortation means strongly urging or advising someone to take a particular course of action. In law, it can refer to judicial guidance or moral persuasion rather than compulsion. Judges sometimes exhort parties to settle disputes amicably. Exhortation differs from legal mandates as it relies on persuasion rather than enforceable command. It serves as a soft approach to complaints or behavior change. The next phrase is blue sky laws. Blue sky laws are state regulations aimed at preventing securities fraud. They require companies to register securities offerings and provide financial disclosures. The goal is to protect investors from deceptive or speculative schemes. These laws work alongside federal securities regulations. Enforcement is usually carried out by state securities commissions. The next phrase is fair trial. A fair trial is a fundamental right guaranteeing impartial hearings and a due process. It includes rights such as legal representation, unbiased judges, and the opportunity to present evidence. Fair trials are essential for justice and public trust in legal systems. Violations may result in appeals, retrials, or international human rights claims. The principle is enshrined in constitutional and international treatises. The next phrase is zero-sum settlement. A zero-sum settlement is a resolution where the benefits gained by one party completely offset the losses of the other. It does not create a mutual value or compromise. Such settlements are common in debt disputes or monetary judgments. They resolve a conflict, but they do not necessarily improve relationships. They are efficient, but often adversarial. The next phrase is grand jury indictment. A grand jury indictment is a formal charge issued after a grand jury finds probable cause. It is used in serious criminal cases. Grand juries review evidence presented by prosecutors in secret. The indictment allows prosecution to proceed to trial. This process acts as a check on prosecutorial power. The next phrase is fair use. Fair use is a legal doctrine that allows limited use of copyrighted material without a permission. It applies to purposes like education, commentary, criticism, and news reporting. Courts evaluate fair use based on factors such as purpose, nature of work, amount used, and a market impact. Fair use balances creators' rights with the public interests. It is a flexible, case-specific standard rather than a strict rule. The next phrase is multiple offender law. Multiple offender laws impose enhanced penalties on individuals with prior convictions. They are often called three strikes laws in criminal justice. These laws aim to deter repeat offenders and protect public safety. Critics argue they may lead to disproportionately harsh sentences. They remain controversial but widely used in many jurisdictions. The next phrase is zoning code. A zoning code is the complete set of regulations governing land use within a municipality. It specifies zoning districts, permitted uses, and development standards. The code ensures orderly growth and it protects community interests. Amendments to zoning codes require public hearings and council approval. They are legally enforceable and form the basis for building permits. The next phrase is water pollution law. Water pollution law regulates the discharge of pollutants into water bodies. It establishes standards for water quality and waste treatment. The goal is to protect human health, ecosystems, and public resources. Violations can lead to fines, cleanup orders, and criminal liability. These laws are critical for sustainable environmental management. The next phrase is transfer pricing. Transfer pricing refers to pricing of goods, services, or intangibles between related entities within a multinational corporation. It affects how profits are allocated among different tax jurisdictions. Governments regulate transfer pricing to prevent tax avoidance. Proper documentation and arm's length pricing are required by law. Disputes often arise between corporations and tax authorities over transfer pricing adjustments.